going to use this for my signatures. So my signatures have kind of sort of gotten a little plump. And if I would have done this book the way that I normally do it, it would have been a gator mouth. So now I'm going to try to create it to not be a gator mouth by using this method. So this is the way that I do this, easiest way that I can take. I take and I use these lines as my guide. Now, because this one is so thick, I'm going to do every second one. I normally do every one, but this one I'm going to do every second one. So I take this piece of paper and I fold it in half. That's going to mark my center. That's going to mark my center, and then when I do this, this is going to mark where I want my third. I'm just doing the pamphlet stitch. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy, that's where it goes. Okay, so then I take, and of course I didn't have one handy, but here we go, pencil. So I said I am going to do every second one, and I left these. So we're going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. So right where it does that little crisscross is where I'm doing my lines, my dots. Then I'm going to move over here. So I need 5 signatures. So that's what I'm going to do. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And when I place these on here, that seems to give it a nice spread. I think that'll work very well. So then what I do is I'm going to take and turn my material the opposite way. And I'm going to mark this the top. And I am going to turn my material this way because I want it to be in the book like this. So I'm just going to flip it over like that. And then I'm going to take this and put it right there. And I'm going to take this glue because this is the fabric glue. And I use this one all the time for this. So I'm just going to glue it in place. So it doesn't move. 0 movement. All right, quit feeding up there. And then we're going to let this dry. So then what I would do once this is dry is I would poke my holes through and then flip it over, and this is how I'm going to sew my signatures in. So I am going to let this dry, and I'm going to sew in the first 4 signatures, and I'll come back and we'll do that one together, the last one together. So maybe it'll dry a little quicker. And then I'm going to grab my awl, like so. And I like to paper clip my signatures together. Yeah, I got things gathered up here like crazy, but that's how I get to my paper clips. These were a really good investment. And I've always been meaning to use these, but I love these so much. And I'm hoarding them. That's what I'm doing. I'm hoarding them. I truly am. Okay, so we got that stuff out of the way. We got that. I am going to take, for me, it works best to paper clip them into place somehow so that they don't move. Now this guy we glued in here, so he's okay. He's fine where he is, but I like to keep my signature in place. And he does get caught in there. And that's why I like these big paper clips, because they catch everything. Alrighty. Like that. I'm keeping them in the order that I want them in the book. Catching a glimpse of some of my decorating that I've done. We'll do a complete flip through once we're all done our journal. And I hope you're playing along and maybe learning something new. I will say that what I discovered is the way that I always do my signatures. I always do my cover first, and then I do the signatures, and then I sew them in, and then I decorate. And by doing it this way, it gives me more of an idea as to just how big of a spine I'm going to need. Because what other way that I do it, I just end up taking and quitting. Don't put no more in there. So this way, at least I know ahead of time. Okay, so I'm going to take my first signature here, and I'm going to take my little guide here. And as you can see, I haven't punched the holes yet, but that's okay. So I'm going to take, and I'm just going to put this in here like so. And as you can see, my paper is not quite the length of the book, but that's okay. This is. And this is the top. And this is the top. And so I'm going to do it right like that. And I'm just going to make it that this is over a little bit and that is over a little bit. There we go. Okay. So then I'm just going to take and line my awl right up. Now, for those of you that have a fancy bookbinding kit, which I do, but I thought for this purpose, because we're doing with the right from the start for beginners, then I thought that this would be the ideal way to do it without no kit. Okay, so there is number one. I have my holes poked, nice holes, went through all the way, giving it a nice hole. I like, because I don't know what I'm going to bind it with yet. I probably will do the wax thread. Is probably what I'll do. But sometimes I do, when I do the binding with the, what's that stuff called? Can't think of it. Twine. Then it's nice to have the larger holes. Okay, so that's where I want that, and line my awl up and push it through. You can speed this up because this is what I'm going to do through all the video. Well, not all the video, but I'm going to do all 5 signatures, and I'm keeping them right side up, keeping this to the top. Oop, get down in there, get down, there we go. This paper is super thick because, this signature is very thick because it has one of my pages where I have collaged all my scraps together to create one page, which is this one here. So it's very thick. But I like how it goes in there. Okay. So I'm still going to do the first binding, get these bound together. And I'll come do the last one with you. And by that time, our cover should be dry, so we can go ahead and add our mixed media to that one. So grab your paints, whatever colors you so wish to use. I've got some sprays and mostly acrylic. And this is the one that we're going to do, the one that we glued in, remember? And this is why I said it's not going to get more than one punch. So we just secured it with that little bit of that touch of glue. Why can't I get a grasp on this one? It doesn't want to let me grip it. There we go. Here. Tie it up. There we go. Okay. This awl is a little thinner than the awl that I've been using. And that's okay. I just can't find the awl that I've been using. I don't know what I did with it. I did something. So then I just take my little piece of sanding foam, what it is, and then I just take and punch my holes. I don't know if I'm in the view here. I could use a bigger piece, I think. If you try this when your glue is not dry, then it wants to come away from your paper. So always make sure that your glue is dry and it doesn't muck up your awl either. Okay, so then when you see, like on this side, it's difficult to see. So I just take and go through all the way. And that makes the holes larger and easier to see, because you're going to be, when you're stitching in, you're going to be stitching in this way. And then if they still don't want to see very well, if they don't want to show you where they are, like those ones are kind of not that happy about being exposed, then I just take, because you're not going to see what I do once you've stitched in. You're not going to see it, but that's how I make the holes more visible when you're trying to stitch in. I'll do that right away. My other awl is a little bigger than this one, so it does show up a little better. Okay, so then I just take my Sharpie and I just go on the holes. And see, I can see. You just don't really want to. I don't like that at all. Don't like it. I don't like it at all. Okay, let's try going back through this way. There we go. And let's go through this one. Okay, let's go. That one's right on the stem, and that's why it's being persnickety. And then we can kind of judge Let's see. Some we'll have to make bigger. Make those ones bigger, so we want to make sure that we know where we're going. And like I said, if you had a larger awl, for me, if I had the larger one, this would not be an issue. So there's one, and the more busy your material is, the more harder it is to see where you're wanting to go. And I think, yeah, that's it right there. Go, and then which one do I have? This one right here. Let's poke my finger. There it is. Okay. There it is. And that just makes it so that on busy paper, you can, busy material, you can see what you're doing. Okay, so then when you're going to start this, you're going to put your, I find it easier to start from the back. So you're going to line this up, and this is how you're going to stitch it on. So that your material, when you open up your signatures, you open up your journal, this is going to show in between your signatures, and this will show pretty. Okay, so I am going to go and get that threaded and get this done, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I'm back, and I have my needle threaded, and I'm using my wax thread, which I used to always use embroidery floss, and it works, but I do prefer the wax thread. And this needle here is a darning needle, and it's not sharp, but it also has the extra large eye hole, easy. So, as you can see, I have done the 4 signatures, nice and snug in there, and we're going to do the 5th one. So when I'm doing it this way, I go through the center first because I want my tie inside. So you find your little black spot there. And then what I do with this is I just tuck it underneath my paper clip, and then that way it doesn't go anywhere. I've pulled through once or twice before. I'll just get this through here. Sometimes if your hole isn't quite big enough, it wants to give you a little bit of a battle, but that's okay, we win most times. Okay, and then back through your bottom. So middle, top, bottom, and back through the middle. Okay, and then we're just going to find that final hole in there. See, we come through. Yes, we do. What's nice about using these needles is you don't get poked. Obviously. Okay, so I'm going to take and put my needle away. Don't need that no more. And I'm going to undo this here. And then what we're going to do is just pull our threads nice and snug. As you can see, nice and snug. Not so snug that they're curling, but snug that they are tight against there. And then I'm just going to take and tie this one. So we know that we take one string and go under the bridge. There we go. And so I'm just going to pull it snug one more time. And then we tie once, a backward for twice, and a regular for forward for 3. There we go. So there we go. That would be our journal is now ready to snug into to glue into our cover. Alrighty, so everything is nice and dry, and I am ready to go to the next stages. And I have my bone folder, and I have my signatures all ready to go. Oops, I guess I could have taken that off. And that's what I meant by if you leave that space and you have your fabric, you get to see the fabric in between the signatures. And because of the way these signatures are bound, they lay nice and flat too, because your spine is very flexible. So that's another plus of doing this way. Now, I will not have a gator mouth because we did it this way as opposed to finishing my cover first. So that is a bonus to doing the signatures first, and then you know how big it's going to be. So what I did was I took and I found a piece of 12 by 12, and I just cut it to 6 inches to make the inside here, and I just put a book page into the center here just to give that little added extra stability. And then these guys are going to go in here just like so. And I just want to make sure of my placement so that goes nice. That's a big journal. I know Suzanne did 5 signatures too. I wonder if hers looks big and chunky like that. But that's okay. That's the way I like my journals. Big and chunky. So, and I got a brand new bottle of glue. So there'll be no waiting. And I am just going to put my journal like this, and I'm going to glue all the paper first. And I'm going to glue it right over top of my strings, which just gives it another added bit of strength. And if you take and wait for your glue to come down, as opposed to squeezing it down, it doesn't do the blipping on you. Oop, my journals are going to fall here. I'm just going to run it all the way down, and I put lots of glue on. I want to make sure. I've never had a journal come apart on me yet, and I want to make sure that I don't get one now. So I'm just taking it right to the edge to adjust the paper for now. And what's also nice about this glue is it gives you a little time to adjust so that you can get it right where you want it to be. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that away, and I'm going to put the lid on there so it doesn't do what is, all that fun stuff it likes to do. And then I'm just going to take, and I kind of have a little bit, I don't think you can see that, but where we did those joins, where we joined the two together, the ends, it kind of created just a nice little bed for our journal. And I'm just gonna make sure I have it where I want it to be, and I do. Looks good. Okay, so now I'm just gonna fold it like this, and this is where the bone folder comes in, because you want to go between to the center of each signature and push it down. Oops, Charlie just thought he might come in here, and well, he can't because the door is shut. Okay, so you go and push down, and then you want to push in between. I don't know if you're seeing this, in between the signatures as well. Just push it down, and that's going to make sure that every bit of your glue is adhering to your spine. And then there'll be no mistake. So we're going to flip this around, and we're going to do the exact same thing again. And I sure hope I put it in. Yes, I did. Ooh. You should always make sure you're putting things in the right way that you intended. At least right now it wouldn't have mattered because I don't have the cover done yet. And the cover is always the last thing that I do because I always have trouble with the cover. And this one, I didn't put a closure on it because I don't think we're going to need a closure. Okay, so this is going to go this way. So once we're done, I'm going to put this flat like this, and I'm going to put it stuck on either side so it holds it in place. And so I've left my strings long because I will probably add something to the bottom here. I'm just going to give it one more pressing down. And then we are done this stage. So I am off to see what Miss Suzanne did. I love her journal. I've never done a book like that. A little, what are they called? Oh, a kid's book anyways. I forget what they're called. They're hard to find now, the old ones. I can't find them. I may add a little something on this yet. I don't know. But for now, this is where she's going to sit. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you had a good time. And I hope I didn't go real far over that 30-minute mark. Wish me luck. Bye-bye.